What's up, everybody? Welcome to YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back. So today I'm going to speak about the power of now. We're going to talk about how meditation gets you into the present moment more and what that means for you. So essentially, your mind is always not being in the present moment. If you don't train it to be that way, it's very natural that your mind is moving around somewhere. So it's either ruminating over the past, whatever that may be. It could be a job loss, what happened there, a family member that has died, a heartbreak in a romantic relationship. It could be that maybe you're an athlete. It could be that game that you lost recently, and why it was your fault. Different things like that. Your mind will go to the past and think about that. And then it will worry about the future as well, anxiety. So that rumination over the past a lot of times is depression, and the worry about the future a lot of times is anxiety. That's their kind of forms that they come out in. So we'll worry about the future. We all know what that means. You're worried, how are you gonna pay the bills? How am I gonna get married? How am I gonna have children? How am I gonna heal from this physical ailment that I have? So the thing about being in the present moment is you will never stay in the present moment always. It's just not possible. The mind just moves. There's ebbs and flows along with your emotions, because your emotions are strictly tied in with your mind and your mentality. So you'll move around. When we're in the present moment, the past is no longer real, in a sense. The past no longer exists because we're in the present moment. We're right where we need to be, exactly where we need to be, doing exactly what we need to do, and we're fully engaged in it. This is actually extremely good for us, for our mental health, our physical health, and our spiritual health, emotional health, if you want to throw that in there. Being in the present moment, engaged fully, exactly into what you're doing, is extremely good for you, I promise. So you want to be that way as much as possible. Now, when you're ruminating over the past and it's bringing up old emotions, whatever those emotions may be, they're taking something away from you. And the past is not, it's real, but it's not real anymore. So if something happened to you in 2019, it is now 2023, and you're still, and realize that you repeat the same thoughts every day. So you're repeating something that happened to you in 2019, and you'll see people like this. You'll find go talk to someone that's an alcoholic at the bar, and they'll tell you, this or that happened to me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and they're still drinking over it. And that's horrible. That's taking away from our lives and from everyone else that we could impact positively, that you would impact positively if you were not ruminating over that. So we've got to get out of that cycle. Now, worry about the future. This one is super simple. If you take care of everything right now, in this moment, today, you don't have to worry about the future. The future that you want will come to you because you're not worrying about it. You're taking care of what is directly in front of you. And that's what we should do. Take care of what's going on today. Figure out what you need to do today, and don't worry about what's going on Friday. It's right now. Take care of this, and everything will work out for Friday. Promise. That one's pretty simple to understand. So the present moment can be a boring thing as well. If you're not engaged in something, if you're not all right, so there's different ways to get to the present moment. Running, that's something that does it for me. If I go for a nice long run, I hit that, they talk about the runner's high, and there's ebbs and flows of it. That's you going in and out of that present moment. Your mind will become so present with your running, your breathing, and just your feet hitting and how your strides feel and everything. It's a beautiful place to be. You'll see people, artists, they get there through writing, drawing, or painting, whatever it is, or playing music. You'll see people get there. Now, I play a little guitar. That gets me there as well too. Sometimes you're just strumming along and it's just everything comes together and it's beautiful. And I get that way too when I journal. So meditation, the thing that separates meditation is it helps you get in that moment without anything. So some folks that have never found that thing, they will use drugs to get there. A lot of drug addicts are actually just searching for something spiritually, and they don't know it. They're just looking for something spiritually to fulfill themselves. There's a hole in their heart, and so they need something to fulfill themselves, and the only way that they've ever found, or the strongest way that they've ever found that, is through drugs. So we want to get into that present moment through meditation with no stimulation. Nothing put us there except sitting down with our eyes closed and breathing, and we fell into that moment naturally. When we do that, when it happens, and you're gonna realize that you're there, and as soon as you realize it, you come out of it. As soon as you acknowledge it in your mind and recognize that you're in that moment, you're gonna come out of it. That's just how it is, and the mind will start running again. That's how meditation goes. The mind will slow down, and you get way deep down here, and time disappears, and it flies when you're down here. And then you recognize it. That awareness that I spoke about before says, oh, whoa, I'm super relaxed. I am exactly in the present moment, as calm as I need to be. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And then you're back to it, singing your favorite song again. And you'll fall back into it. And this takes time. Time to cultivate it, to get better at doing it and get there faster. But it also, no matter what, it just takes time for you to get there. Unless you're like a super monk. Like super monks, these dudes that have like 50,000 hours of meditation, sit down and close their eyes, and within a few seconds, they're there. They've just trained their minds that much. Now, we are Americans, people out here in the world, so we are not able to do that. It's going to take us, it usually takes about 20 minutes to get your mind to that constant conversation, to get it to slow down a little bit, calm down, and you'll go deeper and deeper until eventually you come out of it. But, so we want to learn how to do that with no stimulation, because once you do it with no stimulation, you realize, oh, this is a state that is always within me. I am just not aware of it all the time. And there's things distracting me from this state. So what that will do for you is when you're driving and you're stuck in the past, you're really sad, you're angry, whatever is going on, and you can't pick up an instrument and start playing it. You can't start writing. You're driving. Let's say you're going for a 2-hour drive. Whatever, you're going to visit family. You can't escape that. But having that experience of you sitting down and getting to that place with no stimulation, nothing puts you there except for you yourself sitting down doing nothing. It's a state that was evoked from within you. When you have that experience, you can sit in the car and say, I'm okay. I'm okay. I can become completely present, and I can stop worrying about this past event. That gives you a little peace. And then it would be the same thing if you're worrying about the future. So that's what we want to create. We want to create that in your mind to where you can get there faster through meditation, to where you can invoke that state in your every waking day when you're walking down the street, driving, whatever it is, at work. And we want to, even if you can't invoke that state, because that takes a long time to get there, but if you can't invoke that state, you at least have the memory of it. And the memory of that experience that you felt is very powerful. It's very powerful. You can just think about that, remember that, and it will help pull you out of that. So what do? We constantly, so here's the thing. When you have nothing to stimulate you, your default mode network turns on. It turns on and becomes very active when there's nothing stimulating you. That's why you'll see people who go through very hard times, they just start working. It never ends. They're just constantly forward, pushing. exercising, working on their business, working at their job, whatever, spending extra hours there. They're constantly busy doing something because they know that if their mind turns off, they're going to go to a terrible place. That default mode network is going to put you in bad shape once it gets turned on. But you can't avoid it forever. You cannot avoid it. This is something that is going to come up. And if you don't, there's a Chris Stapleton song where he's singing a sad song and he says, if I don't break down and bring it all on myself, it'll hit out of the blue. And he's talking about drinking. If he gets drunk and gets sad and lets it all out there, then he can operate in normal life. So he essentially, in that song, is turning on his default mode network by drinking. He's drinking himself into it so he can get the sadness out and operate in normal life. Now, so this is always, and that's the thing, if you're that kind of person that you're distracting yourself from it in whatever way, which is most all of us are doing that. We just don't know it. So if you're distracting yourself from that thing, it's always, it's like you're running from a lion. Like it's always chasing you, and you're always, as soon as you sit down for a moment, you're like, oh, I need to do something. I need to get something done. Oh, gotta distract myself from this. And that's a horrible way to live. So through meditation, there was a study done back in 2011. The guy's name was like Holzel et al., something like that. And they found that there's 4 key brain regions that meditation will strengthen. And one of them is the posterior cingulate cortex. So that's like the midline of your brain. Your brain is split into 2 hemispheres, and the gray matter concentration of that is strengthened. And that is directly linked to the default mode network. So if you can strengthen that area through meditation, that is how you will learn to become more comfortable with the default mode network. Once it gets turned on, it's not going to be all over the place thinking about everything and all this negative stuff. It's not going to be doing that as much. It's going to calm down and quiet down. That default mode network will quiet down, and you'll stop tapping into the default mode network as much as well. So our cell phones is the greatest way to distract ourselves from that boredom, from when that default mode network turns on. And the thing about it is, this is why I realized this a while ago, several years ago, that this is why people have midlife crises. So through meditation, I realized this. I realized that they were running from those things in their mind that made them uncomfortable for decades. And then they come 40, 50, life slows down naturally. This is nature. The same way that when the sun is up, birds are out, squirrels are out, animals are out moving around, people are out moving around. Everything in nature is moving faster. Your brain is moving faster too. So at nighttime, everything slows down. All the animals go to sleep. All the humans go to sleep. Everything slows down. There's less light. We have the moon instead of the sun. So with that, with nature, your life will naturally slow down as you get older. It's just bound to happen. You're going to slow down, and your life is going to slow down. And so these people, all those things that they were running from now come to the surface. They're not able to run from them anymore, and they have a midlife crisis. It is what it is. So we have to go ahead and address this stuff as early as possible. It's so good for us to surface these things that we're running from. And so the thing that makes it very difficult in the modern era, so the cell phone is, imagine someone trying to quit cigarettes, but they got a pack of cigarettes in their pocket. So, yeah, I'm quitting cigarettes, pack of cigarettes in their pocket. Yeah, but I'm quitting though. It's very difficult. It makes life much more difficult to have that cell phone in your pocket all the time. So we are able to run all the time. You sit down at the doctor's office, cell phone's out. I go to the gym, hit the sauna, cell phones are out. So we're always able to run all the time. You can constantly run from it. And the thing about life is, something tragic will happen to you, and it will force you to confront those things. It will be forcefully placed upon you through some type of tragedy in your life if you do not take care of it prior to that. And there's still going to be tragedy in your life, but if you take care of it prior to the tragedy, when the tragedy comes, you can move through the tragedy with more grace. Next time you're on your phone, pay attention to yourself. What's your posture like? What's your breathing like? What are your hand and eye movements like? Are they all over the place? Are they moving real fast? Are they frantically switching from one app to the other, scrolling through things, flipping around? Whatever it is your breathing shallow? And the posture, we all know. Posture is, everybody's sitting like this nowadays. All kinds, you'll see young kids, teenagers with bad posture like this. So be aware of what's going on your phone. And if you can't check in and do that exercise, you are owned. You are owned by the past and the present. They fully own your mind, and you can get out of it. Meditation is the way. So that's all for today. Thank you for this. Have a great day.